You've been performing since you were like 5 years old, right?
Yes, I started
Like
when
in
I
kindergarten.
was 3. My
Pre-K
dad,
now.
yeah, pretty much. My family's very musical, so I grew up around music, musicians. Music was always a part of our family, a part of everything we did. So I started singing when I was 3 with a mariachi. My parents would take me to go see mariachi bands and see, they're the band that my father had, and
Right.
so that's kind of how I got my start.
So you were born in New Mexico, right?
Originally Albuquerque,
In
New
Albuquerque.
Mexico.
How long did you stay there?
Till right after I graduated. I knew I wanted to come to Texas.
Graduated high school.
Yes,
Okay.
graduated high school.
So you said you grew up in a musical family. So your father was a mariachi?
My dad was a sax player. He played the
Oh, my
saxophone,
goodness.
and so he had his own band, kind of did his own thing, and I would kind of jump up there whenever I could. And the women of the band, the wives, the girlfriends,
Right.
they would kind of bribe me with a Coke, and they would put 12 cherries in it, and that was my pay to get up and sing.
Coca-Cola and cherries.
Needless to say, I hate maraschino cherries to this day. I can't eat them anymore.
That is crazy.
They kind of gross me out.
So well, good. I didn't bring any, so you don't have to worry about it. That is fascinating. Now, when you were born, and your parents, were you being molded and sculpted into being a singer performer, or did it just happen organically?
I think it just happened. You can want your child to do something as much as
Right.
you love it, but if they're not good at it and if they don't enjoy it themselves, you can push them all you want, but if they're not the ones that want to do it, it's kind of hard. So I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved dancing and singing. I loved being the center of attention. I
Yes.
would perform for my family at home. I'd put on wigs and my aunt's negligees and this and that that's what they used to call it.
Back in the yes.
And so that's what I would do. I just loved it. I loved entertaining, and I loved dancing and singing and being a part of, anything that was going on in the house. So,
But at 3 years old, you're barely learning how to talk and walk, much less sing and perform in front of live
I think
crowds.
that helped me a lot because I would listen to these albums. My dad, for Christmas, he bought me, here we go. I'm telling my age.
That's okay. That's all right.
He bought me like a little record player,
Sure.
and I would steal his albums. I would listen to like Steely Dan, and I would listen to Chicago, and all these amazing bands that he was listening to at the time. And then I'd also listen to a lot of the Spanish music that he had.
Okay.
And so that's how I sort of started with my Spanish.
So then as you're growing up and you're going into elementary school and middle school, are you going to school and performing in the evenings or on weekends? And then, is that happening?
Yes, and I kept it real quiet.
In Albuquerque?
Because I didn't want anyone to know. Yeah.
But is Albuquerque, I don't think, when I hear Albuquerque, I don't think Tejano music. I don't think
No, and that's the
mariachi
thing.
music.
In New Mexico, they have New Mexico music, which is it's Spanish music, but
Yeah.
it's a little different. It's just it has its own style, its own sound, and so that's kind of what I was doing at the time, incorporating a little bit of Tejano in there when I could.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a popular genre then. Texas
Right.
kind of had its thing, New Mexico has its thing. But I fell in love with the Tejano sound. I fell in love with Ruben Ramos and the Royal Jesters, Laura Canales, and then so on and so forth. From there, it just
Yes.
kind of like opened all the doors to, oh my goodness, who are all these amazing artists and the sound that they have, and they're all so talented and just amazing. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be there. I want to go there.
And so you're talking about a lot of acts that had San Antonio ties. So
Yes.
then San Antonio is on your radar at some point.
Yeah.
Like when did you become aware of San Antonio, the music scene? At what age? And then you obviously were making a decision that or was there a deal like once you graduate high school, then we're going to make the move?
Well, I had been listening to Tejano music for many years because of my dad. Like I mentioned, he's a sax player.
Yeah.
He kind of did a lot of music there in New Mexico. And then little Joe heard my dad wanted him to go on the road with him. And my dad turned him down because, he had his family in New Mexico and was unable to just kind of leave us all behind. So it was sort of like, okay, well, my dad had a chance to go. Maybe we can all go together. And that's actually what happened. Like right after high school, I knew we'd been coming for a couple of years. We came to the Tejano Music Awards, and
Right.
I was mesmerized when I saw, just the magnitude of what Tejano was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We were having the Tejano Music Awards at the Alamo Dome, and it was
Yes.
just like larger than life.
This
And
is like the 90s now.
Right.
This is you know, and right, the explosion, obviously.
Yes. I actually got signed when I still lived in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I got signed with Capitol Records, and that's where like my friendship with Selena began. And so Selena
Right.
and I were on the same label, became friends. We, spent a lot of time together at the different events that Capitol Records had, different showcases, things of that sort. So that was a really cool thing for me because when I met Selena, I saw her for the first time at the Tejano Music Awards.
Yeah.
And again, everything was just larger than life to me at that point. It was just like, oh my goodness, like, how am I going to get involved in this? I was just, kind of still on the outside looking in, and it was just like kind of overwhelming at that
Right.
point because it was such a huge thing at that time. And so fast forward a little bit, I get signed, and Selena and I are friends, and we're doing things together.
You're
and we're
similar
doing shows
age at the
together.
time, right? And everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selena's a little older than me.
Right.
But we're, like, it was like, she was at the, like, at the pinnacle of her career. It was just like where things were really starting to take off. And it was really cool to see all of that because it just showed, like, what was possible.
Yeah.
I remember Selena coming to some of my shows,
Yeah.
and she was a much bigger artist than that I was, like, I mean, she was at the pinnacle, like I said,
Right.
and she was the queen, and it was like to see her walk into your show, and she would show up with like no makeup on, her hair back in a bun, and just very, very just demure, very chill.
Right.
And it was just so cool, and I'm like, wow, that's my friend. It was pretty cool.
And so now here we are 30 years later, and you quite literally are still going strong. You are about to embark on another tour?
Yes, we're touring right now.
You're touring right now.
It's the Big Energy Tour. We have been just, oh my gosh, we've been nonstop so far this summer. Or it's not even summer yet. Almost.
I know what you mean.
So yeah, we've just been crazy busy. We do a lot of West Texas shows. That's kind of like my area where I do very, very well.
You were in my hometown the other day.
We were in Victoria for the Memorial Bash, and it was, oh my goodness, amazing. So many Tejano fans from all over the United States, and it was just really cool to see just the camaraderie, the love, the support for our industry, because a lot of people are always saying, oh, Tejano's not doing so good, and I'm like, God, have you guys been to these festivals that we play at? It's doing amazing.
Just go to Market Square for the Fan Fest or
check out Fiesta too.
know.
I mean, like, that music is just, I mean, I don't think you could ever get rid of Tejano music because it is just part of the culture. It's part of our soul. It's part of our blood, and that just runs very, very deep, and that's not going anywhere anytime
There
soon.
would be some very bad riots and stuff if they try to get rid of Tejano music, I'm just saying, and everything.
I agree.
But life on the road, though, the bus and the back and forth and the planes and all of that, like you're still okay with all that?
It's a lot of fun, honestly. It's a little bit more difficult these days. I'm a Gigi now. I don't say grandma. You can call me a glamma.
A glamma.
Or Gigi. That's what the kids call me. But that's a little bit harder to leave now and not have them around. So we do take them with us as much as possible. And you kind of talked about how my family is on the road with me. So my husband is my musical director.
Right.
He plays bass.
Yep.
He plays he plays everything. Right now he's playing bass. He's played every instrument in my band at some point.
Yes.
And then my sister's been in the band for probably,
Sasha, right?
Sasha.
Yeah.
She's been in the band for 20 years, I think, and I forced her into it. She didn't want to, but I forced her. And then now my daughter is part of the band. She plays timbales and she sings. And
is it Aaliyah or how do you
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, yeah.
But she just recently released her own music as well, and she's going by Lily Bella.
Okay.
That's her artist name, and there's a little backstory to that. My mom used to call her Lily, and I've always called her my beauty, mi bella. So it was kind of a little tribute to both my mom and I, and that's how she got her.
It must be pretty cool to be either on stage or maybe you're off stage sometimes and you see her up there doing her thing.
She's awesome.
And I mean, that's got to be pretty cool.
It really is. And she's the type of person that has excelled in everything that she's done. She's been a dancer since she was a little girl.
Yeah.
A singer as well. She was a silver dancer for 4 years. She was the youngest silver dancer to have ever made the team. She made it right out of high school.
Wow. Okay.
And she's just done great things. She was touring with the band out of Dallas, playing for a multi-million-dollar events and things like that. So she's just she's a go-getter, and she has an amazing work ethic, and she's incredibly talented.
But you guys are together all the time. Right. So you
Yeah.
probably know where I'm going with this. Like, do you ever just get a moment where you're just like, I need a little break? Like,
It's kind of weird. I'm not like that at all.
that's a gift.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we have a really good relationship, honestly. We really do.
Your fashion, by the way.
Aw.
Do you pick out your
I
outfits and everything?
do. I do. I love that. That's probably my favorite part. If I hadn't been a singer, I would probably have had something to do with fashion or have a clothing store or something like that. Maybe I still will.
Well,
Any takers out there? You guys want to invest?
there you go. Hey, you never know. You never know who might see this and everything. You definitely have an eye for fashion. That is for sure.
Thanks.
I mean, how often do you think about, how much longer you want to do this? I mean, you seem to have endless energy when I see you on stage and everything, but do you ever think about doing anything else or mixing it up?
We have, my husband and I, this is my 33rd year, I think, in the industry. And it's been a long road. It really has. And that's just been in the Tejano industry, like you mentioned.
Right.
I started singing when I was 5. When I was 3. When I was 5, I started recording. I recorded my first album at 9. So it's been a lot. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But, I think they say when it's not fun anymore, that's when you need to stop.
Yeah.
And it's still a lot of fun.
Still a lot of fun.
I still
But is
love
there
it.
something that out there that you would like to pursue at some point, a passion or a hobby
I
or
actually
something?
would. I would actually like to be a mentor. I would like to mentor a lot of like the younger up and coming artists. My big thing is my stage show. I love to perform. I love to dance and to interact, and I think that sometimes when you're getting started, that's not really something that people teach you. You kind of have to learn that along the way. But I would love to mentor younger artists and people up and coming, and maybe not even younger artists. Sometimes some of us still need help when we're in our
I'm still learning things, and I've been doing this thing for a long time. Produce maybe, or
absolutely
mentor. That's great.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
You want to give back and
definitely
everything.
be involved in the music still.
Fantastic. What's the most difficult thing you've ever had to overcome, do you think?
Ooh,
Life happens and we're faced with challenges and stuff.
Definitely losing my mom. That has been for me personally. That has been the most difficult thing that I've dealt with. Like everything that we've dealt with industry wise, life wise, I can kind of get through that, but that is something that you just don't ever get over. It's been 3 years now, and to this day, it's still just extremely hard for me to do what I do because she had been a part of it since even before I knew what I was doing, and she was always there. She was the one that really inspired my fashion sense and all of that, because she would have outfits made for me. She made sure that I was all glitzed and glammed up, and it was sequins back in the day. Everything was sequins.
Sure.
My hair was done. She just made sure that I was always stage ready. And so I think that that's where that comes from. And she was with me. You say, do I get tired of being around my family? It's just been like that forever.
That's all you know.
My parents were always with me. And then, moving on, met my husband. And then he was always with me. My sister's always with me. Now my daughter, so it's just something that just is, and it works. If it didn't, you'd be able to tell. But I'm just so blessed and so appreciative of my family, because I think that without them, I don't know if I would still be doing this, because they've all played such a big part in everything that I've done.
Well, listen, I lost my mother years ago, and I like to think they're watching us just from a different spot.
Absolutely. And she shows me that all the time. I always have sunflowers, because that's how she shows me that she's there. And it happens every time that I perform. I see, there's we played in Lubbock for Cinco de Mayo, and we came out, and this lady just happened to walk right in front of us with this humongous umbrella, and the whole thing was a huge sunflower, and I was like, "Hi, Mom," and it's just like,
I get the chill. Oh my gosh, I just get That's crazy though, but it does. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? And it's like you just have that feeling that okay, everything's gonna be all right.
Everything's gonna be okay.